The background music starting off this presentation is a cello and guitar duo I wrote while in Strasbourg, based on the patriotic song of Alsace, Das Elsass unser Ländl. It underlines the whole raison d'être of this area, aware of its history, proud of its mixed culture, maybe proud to be French at times, but above all, proud to be Alemannish, and proud of the beautiful area between the Vosges mountains and the river Rhine called Alsace, which means the land seated on the river Ill, or in French, Alsace. As to the city of Strasbourg itself, it was originally the capital of the German tribe of the Tribuci. This settlement, which began on the island formed between the branches of the river Ill, was known to the Romans as Argentoratum, the place of silver, because of the nearby silver mines. Augustus' stepson Nero Drusus is thought to have established a garrison of auxiliaries there. By the 5th century, when the Alemanni took over the region and the Romans were over the Ill and far away, the name Argentoratum gave way to the new name Stratiburgum under the new Frankish kingdom, and then Strasbourg, both meaning the fort on the road. But right up to Renaissance times, the old silvery name is alluded to, as can be seen in these maps and engravings. If you read about Argentina in works of that time, it's probably not the South American country they are referring to, but Strasbourg. The inscription here means, Strasbourg, mentioned since antiquity by Ptolemy, St. Jerome, Orosius, Eutropius, Marcellinus and others, is the capital of Alsace on the nearby flowing Rhine, called by others Argentina or Aurentina, but Strasbourg by the ordinary people. A city widely famed for the virtue, prudence and integrity of the magistracy, respected scientific studies, and a well-known school. Johannes Gutenberg, who came originally from Mainz, moved to Strasbourg and created the first European movable type printing press here in the late 15th century. This is his statue in Place Gutenberg. Here are some of the picturesque buildings from the centre of Strasbourg, including the covered bridges and the beautiful restaurants, which all serve the most beautiful onion tarts, apple tarts, and of course Gewürztraminer wine. Construction of the Cathedral of Notre Dame started in the late 12th century. A team from Chartres suggested a high Gothic design. Pink sandstone from the Vosges was used for the construction. It has just one 142-metre high filigree spire. The second spire was never built. I understand this was due to the instability of the waterlogged land on which the building was, and even then it began to sink during the ensuing centuries and required huge works at the end of the 19th century to prevent total collapse. The height of this one spire was unequalled until the 19th century. It was the world's tallest building from 1647 to 1874, and the design of the cathedral became very influential in Germany. Going forward several centuries, the year 1789 brought the French Revolution, and with it the first division of Alsace into the département of Haut and Bas-Rhin, Upper and Lower Rhine. Alsatians played an active role in the French Revolution. On the 21st of July 1789, after receiving news of the storming of the Bastille in Paris, a group of people stormed the Strasbourg City Hall, forcing the city administrators to flee and putting symbolically an end to the feudal system in Alsace. In 1792, Rouget de Lille composed in Strasbourg the revolutionary marching song La Marseillaise, which later became the anthem of France.
Allons enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. Contre nous de la tyrannie, l'étendard sanglant élevé, l'étendard sanglant élevé. Entendez-vous dans les campagnes mugir ces féroces soldats?
Since that time, Strasbourg, and Alsace generally, has been under the rule of the French and German nations alternately, but it clings on to its own cultural identity. One song that typifies the dual personality of the city is Der Hans im Schnokeloch, literally John in the mosquito hole being the name of a well-known pub. Schnokeloch. Hans doesn't know what he wants, what he has he doesn't want, and what he wants he doesn't have. Der Hans im Schnokeloch, der weiß nicht, was will, und was hat, das will nicht, und was will, das hat nicht. Der Hans im Schnokeloch, der weiß nicht, was will. But I won't sing the whole of it, I'll illustrate it with an instrumental version, just to show off some traditional costumes and dancing at the same time.
Bien les moyens.
The average Alsacien, or Strasbourgundian for that matter, doesn't always know which nation he belongs to, but he is proud of being French when he is, and he says it in his best Alsatian accent. Instead of saying Je suis français et je suis fier d'être français, I am French and I am proud of being French, he says Je suis français et je suis fier d'être français. Indeed, it seems that even the French president isn't sure which country Strasbourg is in. Just watch this. 18th of January 2011, the President of France visits Germany. Alsace.
Moi, je peux accepter les distorsions de concurrence avec la Chine et avec l'Inde, pas avec l'Allemagne. Il n'y a aucune raison. C'est totalement incompréhensible. Et je ne le dis pas simplement, cher Philippe Richard, parce que je suis en Allemagne, je suis en Alsace. Okay.
Germany? That would probably please him a great deal. In fact, they say that the only country that hasn't yet taken Strasbourg over is, of course, China. Well, you would think so, wouldn't you? Not so. Various satirical works in the 20th century point to the Chinese as the next language of Strasbourg. And this book of poems by André Weckmann is headed by Chinesisch, which means Chinese. It looks Chinese, doesn't it? Shan Sun Shin Chun Lang. But actually it's Alsacien. It means, John, the sun has been shining for a long time already. Another poem by André Weckmann was Alsacien, which I set to music and performed in front of him at the Église Saint-Nicolas during a concert in aid of the Green Party, which won quite a reasonable number of votes at the time, back in the 1970s.
Do you remember? You were sitting together on the banks of the old university. Do you remember? Behind you stood that great naked bearded statue. Was it an ancient god or a philosopher? Do you remember? You were wearing that flowery miniskirt over your soft legs, and the boy beside you laid his face on your sun-tanned arm. Do you remember? It was on the banks of the old university, and your lips would murmur, Ich bin die Gitarre, ich bin wie's von dir, mein Senor. Ich bin die Gitarre, ich bin wie's von dir, mein Senor. Herrscht der Chord in Moll, wie Metall, Sieder und Holz. Metall wie Sieder, Sieder wie Metall und warmes, dunkles Holz. Ich bin die Gitarre, ich bin wie's von dir, mein Senor. Brünn Sonne auf meiner Haut, grelle die Welt in meinem Blick, wie steht Pelike vor meiner Tür. Ich bin wie's von dir, mein Senor. Ich bin die Gitarre. Do you remember? Once he saw the dark night blue in your velvet eyes, and you walked side by side along the dusty streets of Alabama. Once he saw the sun's blonde and the northern sky blue, and you walked side by side along the cold byways of Prague. Do you remember? He once saw you chestnut brown, and your green eyes sparkled with golden stars, and you walked side by side through the old streets of Paris, and your lips would murmur, Ich bin die Gitarre, ich bin lieb von dir, mein Senor. Herrsch mein Danse and wie Metall, Sieder und Holz. You found each other, knew each other, then lost each other who knows where. Was it on a barricade or in a war? Who knows where? And the naked philosopher with the ancient beard stands alone behind your bench at the old university and knows nothing more of you than the end of your song.
Tief üppig Gefühl auf'm Stock, brünn Sonne an der Rutschin, grüner Wasser sind vergeht und nix mehr ist geblieben von uns als die Gitarre.
Probably the most important hero of Alsacien culture in recent times was Germain Müller, whose cabaret was called the Parapluie in French, umbrella, sometimes changing its name to the Germanic de Schirm, depending on which country was in charge of Strasbourg at the time and wanting to keep them in the dark. He was apparently fighting a losing battle to maintain the local language, but as this song suggests, he never gave up, and you can still hear the Germanic tones of Alsacien in the streets of Strasbourg. I will leave you with this patriotic song of nostalgia, with my own paraphrase by way of subtitles, along with some photos of the picturesque island which was Argentoratum at the centre of Strasbourg, and the many fine Weinstube and gastronomic delights to be found there: onion tart, apple tart, Gewürztraminer, etc., etc. There is so much I haven't mentioned, such as the European Parliament, architecture, sport and high art events, so there is room for many future presentations on this fine city.
Noch ums Gewässene Gewässes, Gelegte sind sich jetzt d'accord. Alle Statistiken beweisen es, sie ist Archiv für die unsere Sprache. Kannst Krokodile Tränen sparen, in der Gostu gibt's gegeben. Da kann ich an mich selbst verfahren, und Himmelsgütscher ist in mir. Wir sind das Letzte, ja allerletzte, und deine Letzte, wo noch so poppeln, wie der Schnabel nicht gewachsen ist. Noch uns ist fertig mit dem Trafari, und noch wo Tengli im ganzen Frankreich. Wir parlez-vous noch un Französisch? Wir sind das Letzte, ja allerletzte, von deinen Letzten, wo noch so denken, wie der Schäppel nicht gebögen ist. Noch uns ist fertig mit dem Trafari, und noch wird endlich im ganzen Frankreich. Wir parlez-vous noch un Französisch? Uns ist erreicht so, wir haben es so gedenkt, es ist erreicht so, wir haben uns gern gekannt, Politiker mögen, lass die Amerikaner wählen, weil der Bände, das sind wir jetzt gar nichts mehr. Was grad noch die Letzte, ja die allerletzte, von deinen Letzten, wo noch so poppeln, wie der Schnabel nicht gewachsen ist. Noch uns ist fertig mit dem Trafari, und noch wird endlich im ganzen Frankreich. Wir parlez-vous noch un Französisch? Für manche wirklich ist doch schade, ist unsere Sprache sonst auch nicht viel. Und doch manches gesagt, was sie nicht sagen, auf Latin. So nimmt zum Beispiel alle Ville, kennt toujours ça dans le ville gut. En alle Ville ist alle Ville, in alle Ville glänzt Heimat. mein Bibel gern. Und als ich lichtle unter Laterne, sieg ich am Himmel, wenn die Engel traben, in sinnige gelehre Stern.
Und ich bin trüri, alle wie trüri, trüri und müri, bis Seele möri, alle will, wenn du nicht bei mir bist. Und ich könnt hiele, in ein Loch hiele, wie de hiele, von Lüter Lüde. Jetzt mal, wenn du nicht bei mir bist.
Verwickelt alle Wünsche, anzusogenen, verwickelt alle Wünsche, hat uns gern vergeht, vor Lüter mögen, lass mich an den Fingern, alle Befälle, sind mir jetzt gar nicht mehr. Als grad noch die letzte, ja die allerletzte, von den letzten, wo noch so bobbeln, wie der Schnabel nicht gewachsen ist. Noch uns ist fertig mit dem Trafari, und ordentlich im ganzen Frankreich. Que parlez-vous non un français? Und trotzdem klingt es wie Roman und reimt gar nicht mit der Bös. Wenn noch seiner Eier Stroh ein Lied ins Grab singen.